Okay. It's all about networks. Networks offer both opportunity and threat. Here we go. NSA's provide and protect missions. We should make a note of that because that's what they're actually calling their attack and defense.
Interesting. Yeah, no, the use of basically doublespeak is amazing in these documents. And it's really helpful to be able to actually read between those lines the way you can.
Information assurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they're talking about here? It must be. More and more the way we do SIG is how we do. Usually that would mean information assurance, but now I'm confused. What are they referring to as IA? Signals Intelligence Director and...
I think we looked up IAD before, I think, or something similar. Let me look that up. Well, yeah, that can't be right.
Might be analysis, but usually IA would be information assurance.
Well, it says here the acronym is...
here we go, the experts, and I'm blind. Like if we scroll, if we get to the end of the paragraph, it actually says it. So there we go. Right, so that's just information assurance, meaning confirming the integrity of the data that's in a database.
Good. Yeah, no, when I looked up the acronym itself, there.
Or in a network that ensuring that network has maintained its integrity, meaning it has not been breached. There's been no breach of the network and no corruption of the data or loss or tampering or exfiltration, as the NSA would say.
So is this one of the few times we're actually seeing concern about defense of security, or?
Well, we're seeing a reference to it. I don't know that it's concern yet. They're acknowledging it exists, and that's more than we usually see.
Exactly.
The logical next step after we discover an enemy's vulnerability is to share that weakness with those who protect our networks and thus increase our chances of surviving the same level of attack from others. The same holds true in reverse. So this is interesting.
Yeah.
So if they discover that they've been attacked, the method by which they've been attacked is one that they can then replicate and use on attacking other people.
Yeah.
Which shows not, to me, that shows not so much a concern about protection as a concern about converting the methods of protection into attacks.
Yeah.
And converting attack vectors into defense.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds very utilitarian as opposed to worried about.
Yeah, they're wanting to multi-purpose everything.
Yeah, they definitely don't have a tone of concern here at all.
Do you think is it that they never had a major breach?
Yeah, maybe at this time. Yeah, I mean, at this time, WikiLeaks didn't exist yet. Am I correct in saying that?
I don't even think it's a matter of WikiLeaks existing. I'm remembering the cyber war. So like must have been like 2006, 2007, there was an actual declaration by one of these guys. I can't remember if it was Alexander, it would have maybe been before his time, Alexander, or one of them. Anyway, one of the US generals, the cyber command generals or whatever, got up and gave a big speech and said, the cyber war is coming. We have to be ready for the cyber war. The next generation of warfare will be cyber. And then they did this massive recruiting effort, specifically targeting anybody who had any programming skills to get them involved in the cyber war, the cyber war, the cyber war. Now, my recollection is that that's predated WikiLeaks. Maybe not predated the existence of WikiLeaks, but definitely predated the predominance of WikiLeaks, or what's the correct word?
Publication of the Iraq war logs, maybe.
Well, yeah, 2010 is where the whole world knew what WikiLeaks was, right? But I'm thinking this is like 2006, 2007 that they're talking about preparing for the cyber war. So I think perhaps you're right. Maybe it's that they didn't experience major breaches of data. I would think that these agencies are supposed to be trying to breach each other all of the time.
Yeah, no, that's really a good point, because we're now in our context, at least the way I think about this, is so much the context of people leaking or people hacking or whatever, but not. We're probably not focused as much on the reality and the fact of state actors, attempting to breach each other all the time. And I mean, you would think that would have been happening from the absolute get-go, and that's just like run-of-the-mill normal operating procedure as far as I know. I mean, I remember years ago I heard about the Chinese state getting into a lot of accounts and hacking a lot of things. So I can't imagine, there's no good excuse in my mind for the lackadaisical way that they're approaching defense here. It's just really inexcusable.
I'm laughing to myself at Cockatoo in the chat at his tactful disappointment that I'm not using the numbering system.
Oh, right.
Documents. And it's just occurred to me that the reason that he's tactfully disappointed about that is because it's making it difficult for people to follow along themselves with the documents. So I apologize for that. And rather than just randomly opening 10 at a time, I will say, now we are on document number blah, 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 and open that one document, Cockatoo.
Yeah, well, it's also just easier for me.
Gray hair.
When we've gone through like 3 of them that you've opened up, I end up losing track too. That's why when you left, I was like, I don't even know which one we were on. So yeah, no, it's helpful. No, it's not a problem at all. I understand. And I'm pretty much dyscalculic, so I'm terrible with numbers. So you'll have to repeat them all up for me to remember which one we're actually on, but not a problem at all. That earlier document on traffic thief really is fascinating to me, and I think it, hopefully, and maybe even multiple articles, like from something short from us, but that definitely maybe more an in-depth one from you would be awesome on that subject.
Okay, let's get back to it. Where are we? Networks, right. Okay, Threat Analysis Center we know a lot about already. Just highlighting the benefits. There you go, and take on an increased role in offensive information operations. So this, it's possible that when they say protect our own networks, it's possible that the NSA is not actually responsible for protecting the networks of the other agencies.
That's a good point.
But that it is responsible for hacking the other agencies' targets.
That's a really great point, because that would explain their focus on offensive topics as opposed to defensive subjects. Definitely.
But then the question would be, who is defending the other networks? Like, for example, the OPS database should have been the most protected, or one of the most protected databases that the US possesses. The idea that that could be hacked is like unthinkable.
Yeah.
So if the NSA isn't responsible for protecting the data sets of the other agencies or the networks of the other agencies, who is?
I think that's a really great question. I have no idea either, but that's a really great point.
Oracle? Like who?
Yeah, no.
Is it commercial providers? Like
Hopefully they wouldn't be outsourcing that type of thing. That would be really concerning. I mean, not that it would
but
surprise me.
someone else said that if they are outsourcing things to commercial, it means that they're also it has effects on the auditing processes.
Absolutely.
The reporting trails and the auditing process. It allows them to cover up things that they might quite like to cover up.
Exactly. It allows them to avoid FOIAs and all sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm remembering back to the article I wrote from an FBI whistleblower that was talking about the vetting process at the FBI being outsourced, and that the company that was doing it was obviously interested in making money from the process. But all of that story. But the point being that these actions that you would assume would be done in-house definitely can be outsourced, and it's worrying.
Well, I think there's not much that these guys do that isn't deliberate.
Yeah.
So you would assume that if they are outsourcing network security for the majority of the intelligence agencies, that it is actually deliberate.
Yeah. Either to avoid accountability or some other reason.
There's clearly payoffs for them one way or another. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
DOD is a global information grid. What
yeah,
is oh my God, holy crap.
Yeah, I read that ahead and I was going to ask about it.
What on earth? I've never heard anything about this. DOD's global information grid.
That is another term we're going to have to write articles on.
And horizontal integration across the intelligence community.
Yeah, when I read horizontal integration,
beyond swimming upstream, it means they're not swimming upstream, it means they're swimming sideways.
Yeah, and to me, I read that as part of Transformation 2.0, which I know they referenced earlier in this document. It sounded like a similar process, but I'm not sure if that's the same thing or not.